Right. Well, Tracy, my sister, was out here a couple of weeks ago. And there are huge swathes of our lives that we know nothing about. I mean, her teenage years and her growing up, what she did, and I mean, me spending, 35 years in Iraq. And Jennifer had come over for the day, and we were just sitting and sharing these stories and chatting and so on. And Tracy wanted to know about the internet, and I told her the story about how I brought it there and went on. And though she'd read Rhubarb, I explained that, Jesus, after 3 years of having this little David internet shop, for me in my life, 3 years, that's as long as I've done anything. All my careers have been less than that. This is it, I've achieved this. And now I was moving on to asteroids. I'd just come back from seeing Tom Harrell's and to Arizona, and this thing was set up. I'd been to banks, everything was good to go. And so I really wanted to get out of this. I was going to move on, right? I'd done my time with this little internet. Internet was meant for something much bigger, right? So this was it. So this woman, anyway, starts writing to me out of the blue and says, "Oh, you might not remember me from 10 years ago, and I'm coming with my daughter on a holiday in a few months, and can you recommend a place to stay?" And I'd met her through just 10 years prior to that. She was a friend of Jane who had a shop. And she comes with her 10-year-old daughter. Oh, the two places would rent a place, the Slomkas that I had, or Maggie's little house, which was next to my little cottage. I mean, room that I rented from I was very happy there. So she comes out for her 10 days, and I'm going to cut a long story short. She has this, this is why Jennifer said, "I've never heard this story." I said, "Well, here's what happened. I was giving up HydraNet, and I sold it to Mardis." She said, "Yeah, but at the same time," I said, "Well, this woman was coming out. She was coming to live with me. She came out for 10 days. It was all very romantic. She was bringing her daughter, and she assured me she'd worked for the American Defense Force, and she'd helped start up Microsoft, and I didn't say knew Bill Gates, but intonated that she flew on Concords and knew all the shit about IT. Fucking awesome." So I thought, that's a sign. There it is, bejesus, right there now. This girl is definitely being sent to me, and so I sold the internet. I got a nice price from it from Mardis and so on. And she turns up. Now, I should have guessed when she sent me an image of her daughter. She didn't send a photograph of herself when she was coming out on holiday, but of Harriet, who was 9 years old, 8 years old, or whatever. And she was this, it was analog. We didn't have digital in those days, so it was like fucking forever. Sent me a poster-sized photograph of her daughter. So I thought, somebody who's tech savvy, that was a bit of a lathos, but hey, we let it go. Anyways, it came out. I spoke to my mates in Athens. They'd already opened up a branch. It was either CompuLink or Forthnet, I can't remember. And they were opening a branch, and I had a computer school in Poros, and I thought, there's so many boats a day. And yes, this woman who was coming out, old Kelsey was coming out, was all up there in the God's bejesus. She was coming out, commute every morning, lots of people did. Good job teaching kids what she was going to do. I sold that, and she was going to help me set up fair, and that was it. That was my new life. Right, family life and everything else. Auspicious. It was the turning of the millennium and all that sort of stuff. And then she came out and she said, "Why did you sell that?" I said, "Well, because I'm bored of that now. You're coming here to be a teacher and get on, and you said you had money and stuff, and so, I found this nice apartment. I even spent some of my savings and bought a washing machine and things for the first time. And yeah, let's get going." Mm-hmm. Yes, 2 years later, Fair wasn't launched. We'd relaunched, and anyway, that's the other side of the story. Anyway, that's why I sold the HydraNet. 3 years, and people always said, "What?" She said, "It was the most successful." Well, it was the most successful, and etc. Because I'd sold a couple of houses through it, but that's only because it was the first. All the pirates had their cyber cutlasses out by that stage, and no, it was me done. So That's the end of that story. Oh no, shut up. That's all good fun, isn't it?